You look familiar, probably just saw you around the university, but never met. So I'm Carol.
I'm Matt.
Matt. You know Gloria? Yeah. And Jake? We've met.
You guys?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And Tara? And
Yes.
Have you met before? Okay. All right.
I've always was something.
Yeah.
Among other growing up, yeah.
Yeah, just kind of growing up.
Nice. Yay. Okay. You did your jobs. They're all grown up.
Yeah.
That's serious pat on the back. That's not an easy job.
Did that one.
Yeah, check.
Life's experiences.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get everybody on Hangout. So I'm gonna let you guys all introduce yourselves to each other, and then maybe talk through why I've brought Carol in to join class today, because it's an interesting story, and it's about interpretation of language and how different that is for someone who speaks ASL as their first language. And so Carol is trying to get the context of some of the stanzas of the poem so that she can interpret it accurately for the video. Yeah. So and she'll be with us for about a half an hour, and then we'll move on to doing some testing with the projector.
Okay.
Yeah. If you go see how high we need to put it to get the image along. Okay. All right. I'm going to focus on this. Yeah, or just talk about why. Yeah, about why.
Yeah, I guess when I produced it on the radio, prior to some other events and stuff, and talking about the next thing into
This project,
here.
yeah.
And then also being here with you. Originally, Clarence was a community arts student, so he was going to interpret this. But
Right.
He felt in the last throes of the semester that.
Which is understandable. I think we're all feeling that way, yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, I know that I can also ask some ideas in terms of the signing.
Okay.
But, yeah, no, I was,
Sorry.
kind of touched by the challenge.
Great to have you on board to do it too.
Also having experienced loss of life in the last 6 months.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right. Okay, so that's really what the poem was trying to capture.
So what I did is I
Okay.
went through here and just tried to figure out kind of where one idea kind of moves into the next. So this here, so I directed the line.
Hi, Natasha.
Because in time, I need to have a little bit more because you would start with the top and the stop.
Right.
And then how after
You're driving to
surprising that the idea is we were talking about a person.
Hi, Johnny.
Or we were talking about a star.
We're in 106 today. We've changed locations.
Yeah.
Or we're talking about.
But a person. Yeah, we're actually talking about
Jake,
both.
come to the table.
Right, in a
Right,
sense.
so the idea of this being a surface, and being a surface,
Mhm.
and something rising, that's not connected to the
Okay. Oh, good.
Connected to
Excellent.
the earth would be that.
Okay.
So
Are you guys all connected? It's all working out over there?
All the way through this poem, which moves some of the double meaning of English.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Allie, you're on the
Or
computer.
you have to sign it twice as much.
You're on your computer.
And that
Okay,
kind of
very good.
detracts from the time.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have to make decisions.
Okay.
Just so that you know, but kind of the idea of.
I'm going to interrupt you guys for just 1 second.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We have a special guest today, Carol Litherland, who is going to, can you see her at the end of the table? Wave hi. Allie, Johnny, Allie Burnquist, Johnny Alvarez, and Natasha. Natasha, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, you don't have a video, but that's okay, you don't have to have a video. So Carol Litherland is here because she is going to be doing the interpretation for Tara's poem in American Sign Language so that we have signing happening as the poem is being read. And Carol and I have had an ongoing conversation throughout the semester, because she is the interpreter of my digital painting class, about American Sign Language and about the way American Sign Language is structured and how different it is from English. And so that people for whom American Sign Language is their first language communicate very differently than we do with each other in standard English. So this presents a whole set of complex issues when it comes to interpreting a poem, which has multiple meanings, multiple layers of information, stanzas that mean something kind of that are more than the sum of its parts, as opposed to each individual word. This presents a very challenging issue for somebody who is translating or interpreting. So Carol is here today to talk through some of the very specific questions she has about certain stanzas in the poem. And I thought it would be really nice to include all of us in that discussion, because I think it's kind of a fascinating, situation to be involved linguistically with American Sign Language and a poem.
And I also think, I'm really glad that Carol came in on this, because that was part of my concern too, is that we do this as correctly as we can if we're going to go into sign language or braille or anything that is not something we're used to in helping somebody understand. So thank you for coming and doing this, because I feel really like it takes us up another level, which is really important when you're trying to sign a poem, because poems also are, they have so many meanings and so many, like you just said, like it could mean so many different things. So we're like taking two different interpretations of words, which is poetry and sign language, and trying to make it make sense to the viewer or the person who can't hear, or to anyone, because it is also, it adds another element. So
Yeah, that's another layer of information.
yeah, it does.
Yeah, when I did watch the video
Okay.
of the beats.
Okay.
All right, now is that the video that you're going to use?
That's the video we're going to use,
Okay.
and which I'm open to if we had to reshoot it to help this process of having you follow along. If we need to do that, we can do that. Because everything is always a prototype until the very end, until show day. Then it's the real deal. But until then, we can reshoot, we can edit, we can do whatever needs to be reshot, especially for this project, because I'd like it to be as polished as we possibly can, as not only an exhibit, but just really taking the poem off the page and making it a real thorough experience for the listener, the viewer, whoever that person may
Yeah,
be.
because my own thing, when listening to things,
Mhm.
sometimes things mean more than the words.
Mhm.
And so any kind of voice inflection and stuff also adds to the meaning and the weight of
Right.
one thing over another. And it seemed like when you were doing it, you were trying to kind of like pace the words
The
so
words.
the person could do
Okay.
the beats, right? And
Maybe
so
should
it
be.
doesn't have a lot of inflection in it that
Right.
helps
Okay.
at least me
Yeah,
figure
no,
out
I feel that way about it too.
meaning anymore. The other thing is that, you know, when you're thinking about American deaf people, most all of them sign in the ASL when they're communicating and read and write English. So they're bilingual. So in effect, by having the reads there and being able to read is the same as captioning. And for some people, visually, when they're looking at like a movie, they don't want to have an interpreter or they want to have a caption so they can watch the visual of the movie. On the other hand, the visual that's happening is the deeds and you're not, you know, actually seeing the signs. And so you'd have to kind of like go through this twice. Watch the deeds, watch the sign language. Because when you're signing, you know,
Yeah.
deaf people in class, you know, always have this problem. It's like, okay, she says, go ahead and keep working on my stuff, my digital painting stuff, and listen in. Well, either I listen in or I can keep working on my digital stuff. I can't do
Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
You know, I
You
have
have to.
two eyes, you can only see one thing at a time.
Okay.
And so that's kind of a problem for deaf people, is like taking in the visual image and what is important. So reading the words doesn't actually give you the inflection voice, you know. So I don't know what other things that you have, you know, that give you the sense of if we see you reading a
Yeah.
poem, if we see, I mean, there's lots
Yeah.
of different ways that people take in information. And part of it is just like, well, first of all, I see this whole room, I see who these people are, and we just kind of have like big picture to small, let's figure out what the poem is. And always trying to guess that out.
Maybe it should be read with, it just being read with the inflection and that, and you interpret that. And then the beads would have to be done to match that, like instead of me trying to match the beads to that. Because I was reading them upside down even. I was filming it.
Right,
So
and
there
so for
was,
me,
yeah.
Trying to make the interpretation.
Can you guys hear all of this?
Also fit
Yeah,
the amount of time that I have,
Kind
because
of.
I
Kind
could
of.
figure out,
Kind
oh,
of.
this would be a
Bring
good
it
way
closer.
to interpret this, but given a
Okay.
shorter amount of time.
Right.
I would make different choices, because
Okay.
it would be more condensed.
yeah.
And sometimes things are meant to be vague, you can be vague in sign language, or something can be vague in any.
And then you need
in any
language and then poetry.
So I wrote,
Okay.
some specific
Okay.
questions, going through this that I needed answered. And also if these line breaks don't seem to make that make sense. So some ideas are really big, and so like a gathering of spirits, the Avalon does making room for one more sun seems to be like one idea too.
Right.
So for all of that, I'll figure out how to sign it.
Right.
But the idea of making room for one more sun, right? I mean, we have the sign for sun,
Right.
but do we need one more person, right?
Mhm.
And so it has like a very specific thing, because this is a boy baby, right? So boy baby means son.
Okay.
And when we're talking about, the grandfather
Yeah.
passing, they're not exactly a son. So in that sense, more of a person,
Yeah.
right? So this is an honorific pronoun, somebody that you respect.
Okay.
And so the idea of son is more of a respectful term, somebody who belongs, or, right? And so you have to sign it differently, because this just means, that little one is
It's very literal.
very literal.
Yeah.
And so this kind of person, so one more, right,
Mhm.
joining to some group of people that is waiting.
Yeah.
And so you have to actually have the group of people waiting, you have to have a person, and then you have to have the person join the group. Or the group beckoning, or something.
Yeah.
But you can't just sign the words on it.
Yeah, I see.
It's not.
It's fascinating,
I think
right?
welcoming back is it, and with my dad especially, like his mother died when he was really young, so I always felt like his life was tragic from a very young age. So him returning like back to that,
Right.
where before it became hard,
Right.
So maybe the younger, the son, the small son.
Right. And so the idea of, also having a Spanish word in there,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
does. So some kind of something that shows a connection, right?
Okay. Which can be translated back to like,
Right, so-
yeah.
And so just kind of this
Okay.
word would mean that idea, but you have to identify what this is and what this is, and then the connection. And then kind of the idea of them as forming joining in the middle, or them joining
Oh.
down here. I mean, everything makes a
Yeah,
difference.
yeah, definitely should be doing it here.
Right. So some of the stuff
Yeah.
I can kind of figure out.
Okay.
But those are the kind of decisions I make all the time when you're interpreting and deciding.
Yeah, this is just.
So then this idea of crossover.
Mhm.
Do you mean like entering a place?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm good with that. All right. And then.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So maybe we should use the audio that we did downstairs, because that's me reading the poem. And that has the inflection, and that has me reading it without, like, I'm actually reading off the page somewhere into it and trying to read the beats, because that is really,
It's so interesting.
yeah. And I knew that when I was reading it, I don't know if I should reread it, because it's just me reading the beads, and there's a difference reading the beads. When you read the beads, you don't know how, you can't line them all up, you can't read them off there, you can't, it's like almost like I'm just gonna read you the poem. But so what makes it that moment. But for this particular exhibit, I think it needs to be more
And I noticed too,
structured.
You know, you would then, when you're doing yours too, you're like, well, do I just do 5 beads? I was like, those don't mean anything, those 5 together, so I need one of these 7 and one
Yeah.
of these 3 and one of
Yeah.
those 5. So that's exactly what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You're rearranging the beads.
Yeah. What was that?
Putting them
So
in a different
just,
order.
my question would be, so is the decision to not use the beat video and just
No,
use
we're
the
gonna-
recording of you saying with the sign language?
Well, we have the recording of me, right? Just
Yes.
reading the poem. So
Yes.
we're going to give that to her so she can hear it. And then when she does that and signs it, then we're going to.
You're gonna add the,
We're
you're gonna
gonna have to
add
add
the
the
beats, but
beats
you're gonna
again.
remove the audio from
Yeah,
that and
yeah.
use the inflection
And
audio.
it's just going to have to,
Yeah.
the work will be matching that up. And so I'd rather match up the beats, which to me are just beats, than to try to get the emotional part done with words and sign, you know? So maybe we focus on that, and the beats could be like, okay, now we just have to match them up and do our best. And it doesn't have to match word for word.
Are you
Okay.
guys following all this? Can you hear it?
I can hear it better.
I can hear it.
Allie and Johnny, you can just nod or shake your head. What, you're following it all? Okay. Most of
Do you
it?
have
Okay.
the poem? Or-
No, you'll cut it out.
I have.
Oh, it does?
Do you have a copy of it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a problem. Okay.
Okay, well, go ahead and.
Yeah.
Okay, so in
Yeah.
ASL, we don't have passive voice.
You don't have a past voice? A passive voice.
So you have to attribute everything to somebody. So I have a question here. Right. So when you're saying the strength in willing more time to let go, is that referring to those left behind or those going?
Those going,
Okay.
yeah.
So I'll attribute that.
So what Carol just said,
Yeah.
just to reiterate for you guys, is that in American Sign Language, there's
Has
no
one stay on.
Yeah,
passive
right.
voice.
You need to go.
So
But you
you
need to
always
go.
have to
And
refer
you're-
actively to who it is
And
you're
that's
talking
what I
about.
felt was really
So with poetry, of course,
obvious, was
that
that
presents
wanting to stay.
issues, right?
But yet, you really
Because
can't.
with poetry, so
And,
much of it is contextual,
It's like the-
and so much of it
It's
is,
really trying to make more time and so I
inference.
really felt what was happening.
so that's what Carol's explaining now. And so she's explaining how
So
she's
then
gonna
again-
interpret some of this, some of the words.
Right, so rolling homemade flour tortillas by the dozen. So you, in English, we can say homemade flour tortillas were rolled, right? And we don't have to
Right.
attribute them to anybody. But in itself, there's gotta be somebody
Rolling.
who's rolling it.
Oh, wow.
Who's
Yeah.
like making them, so if it's a grandmother or me or you
Yeah.
or anybody, someone, right? Or
So it would be the
son,
daughter then,
Someone
yeah.
there, you know, like there's somebody in the kitchen, someone like making, but there's just no plastic.
Okay, so then it would be the
Interpreters
daughter, yeah.
often
daughter,
make
oh.
this thing, so if you say flour tortillas were rolled, what you really are saying are flour tortillas are rolling something. Right? Or you say that it was decided, you know, that, you know,
How about daughter rolling flour tortillas? Could you say that?
Yeah. Yeah, because, but then that would make, now we understand who's, I would like to
Right.
think, writing
Right.
the poem or who's, where
yeah,
the
it
poem's
can be
coming
the
from.
person, the
Yeah.
speaker, so
Okay.
if it's the speaker,
Okay, let's do daughter.
then it's, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow.
You should take a picture for this.
I can't see paper anymore without that.
Hi, we're all getting there, believe me, I'm right
Without
behind
my
you.
glasses.
Okay, so here, when you say the hands rubbing skin,
Mhm.
okay, so what I'm questioning here is what are you picturing? Because most everything else in the poem, I'm coming up with a picture. So is it the dusting off of the flour?
Yeah, okay.
Make the
in the-
tortillas? Right.
Dusting flour. So it's dusting flour, but then it's also just touching, like
So it's
touching.
both.
Yeah, it's the touching and quite like caressing the skin. You know.
All right.
So it goes from working to healing, you know, with touch sort of thing. because I know it helps you to have like what that moment was, you know. And with my dad, he really wanted somebody to cook for him, and so I did that. But then he also like wanted lotion rubbed into his skin, you know. And those little things that I realized it's gonna be like the last time that I do this, you know. And so you almost want to touch that. You want to like, you know, hold them.
So I'll need to kind of figure out how to do this. So, I mean, there's kind of like this giving, you know, you're talking
Yeah.
about giving away
Yeah.
and, you know, like love and giving away. You know, because we have the visual of beads, there really is, there's lots of words in sign language that are no signs. So I can identify beads and, let's see, coyote, and you actually finger spell those words.
Okay.
And that takes more time.
That takes more time.
And then to make them clear so that
Yeah.
the person watching it can see them.
Well, and with the poem too, we can break it up too. Like, I can cut, like we can edit into verses, so it's more of a pause maybe in between. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Should we do this together? It's up to you too. But if you could just do it, we can maybe break it up. We'll figure out the ways to edit it. But I'm realizing with the poem, I could cut it to where it's like there's pauses in between, which might be kind of nice.
Maybe when
To not rush through it, make it longer.
also like maybe when we record is that we can do certain stanzas and then give like a 10-15 second break between and then edit
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Or if
Part
you
of,
need to pause.
yeah, one of the things that is helpful, I don't know, as far as interpreting, I mean, it's impossible for me to remember all of this.
Yeah.
So I think when I'm being recorded, actually signing it, it helps for me to listen to
Right.
it. And there'll be kind of like a certain amount of seconds of lag. But then when you go to show it, you can, you know, delete
Right.
out that
Right.
time
Right.
and try to get it to match up.
Okay. Yeah, because we'll just be filming the hands too from here down, so we'll,
Yeah.
or whatever.
So like with this, Tara, I'm gonna ask you, would you be willing to be there with us when we film?
Sure. When do you want to do it?
Well, when would be a good time?
Well, I know that we've always kind of met after class, and you were going to do it after class for planners on this year. On Wednesday night, Ken says there's upgrades to like 11 p.m. My daughter usually goes home early and takes care of all the critters. So I think that would be a good time for me to focus, and I'd have the 2 hours while everybody's working on their to just, you know, kind of do the practice. Timeline from the day gone, and then.
So let's shoot for Wednesday after class.
That's great.
That works fine. And do you want me to send it to you or send it to you both? Should I send it through email? Send it through email.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay. I'll do that.
So- Okay, so, now, this was one of those line breaks where
Okay.
I'm not sure. So are we talking about how strong the word can be? Or are we talking about in feeling, in remembering how strong that person is?
Yeah, so hands rubbing skin for last time to remember how strong a word can be shared. So that's all part of that, and it's really about just sharing words again in that moment
So the strength goes more
with the words and sharing
okay. So,
in that moment.
yes, just say, no break there.
Okay.
Figure it out.
Okay.
Okay, all right. And so this is kind of, you know,
Right, that would be,
Back.
yeah, and then we're going to go
right,
into this.
so then the rising star shape. Right, and these are great images. So when you say sacred buffalo, or this is a sign that we have for holy, in that sense, kind of sacred. Do you, I mean, I know some people, when they talk about like a sacred buffalo, they're saying that the buffalo is white.
Yeah, and it could have, and it actually could be white buffalo, if you want to,
I mean, this
which is
really
means
easy.
sacred buffalo, right?
Right, so this flows
Yeah.
really well in sign language. This
Right.
is the sign for white, right? And this is the sign for buffalo. So if you just do
I
this,
think that would be
it's
nice.
smooth,
It's
easy.
kind
Yeah.
of beautiful too,
Yeah,
isn't it?
and-
Like
and
coming
that's-
like
yeah.
from the head
Yeah.
to the heart, back to the neck.
Yeah.
It's kind of,
I mean, I know
Yeah.
you said white wolf down below, so it's kind of, you know.
And that might be why I took out white buffalo, is because I had white wolf, and I didn't want white to, because sometimes when I write, I'm like, oh, I'm already using it, so I need to put sacred instead.
Right, and
So-
so you could switch to just so you know, because in sign language and not technically. Because white wolf is a little bit odd because this is white and this is wolf.
Okay,
Wolf.
so let's do sacred buff, let's do sacred wolf,
Yeah.
and we can switch
And
them.
then I'll just do blue.
Yeah.
So. But this is a sign for like a spirit, and so in that sense can also be.
Maybe that would be good with the, that might be good with the wolf then, because it really is like a spirit wolf thing more than anything.
White wolf is this.
Yeah, no, that's great, thank
It's just like that grinds just a little bit. It's kind of like a.
you. I like it, thank you for,
And then the idea of pause. There is a sign for like take a break, pause, but it doesn't really work. So
Yeah.
in my picture, I see like this white buffalo, but the pause is just like on their feet.
yeah, like taking a stand.
Rotating out. And then the idea that the coyote stares, holds. So is it holding,
Stare, gaze, yeah.
gazing at the buffalo? Because you can have them eye to eye.
Yeah,
You can have them one looking off and one looking at.
yeah. I think it's just really, they're all, wherever they are, that's what, they're all like taking a
Right.
moment because
And
they're
so-
feeling it, so they're,
Right. So I can just have them randomly in places. So
Yeah.
white buffalo, right?
yeah,
Just there. And then the coyote, you know,
Yeah, I
there's
like
like,
that.
you know, goes up into the moon or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
staring at his
Mhm.
star.
yes,
rising,
yes,
right?
yes.
And then you have
The spirit wolf.
right, so then you have the spirit wolf and then this idea of weaving.
Yeah,
And you can do weaving in different ways. I mean, if you're weaving and you're making something.
Yeah.
But things can be from above and below.
I would like to see it kind of, they're
Okay.
so, because it's woven in soul warmer, so kind of cool.
It's a cool language. I mean, you can walk back to weird stuff.
Great seeing it come to life.
Yeah, there are some great poets out there. I can, Peter Wolf.
Mhm.
yes, you can.
Anyway. This is his time. So the idea of, and so woven can have more spirit. So the soul, you know, as opposed to like, this is the spirit in the person, right? And this is the spirit that's just you're engaging out. Okay? So maybe it's like woven in with one spirit. and
Yeah.
more that comes from that. So,
Yes.
got it.
That's great.
So those are my questions. Asked.
No, no, I'm.
I don't know. A lot of this I was fine, right? The thing with consciousness this is like awareness in the front of your head, right?
Okay, right.
And this is like awareness in the back of your head. Like, so, like, I know this, like, it's like juggling around your back. So this, sometimes we take it from the back of our head and put it in the front of our head.
It's amazing.
Right, so then it comes to mind. It's like you were always aware of it, you always do it, but you don't, now you really know it.
I think that would fit it, right? Because it's reawakening
Okay.
the consciousness. So you'd come from back.
Wow.
It makes so much sense. Right?
They have great metaphors, great imagery.
Like, it like makes it more physical.
Right.
Well, obviously, it makes it more physical.
This
but
is the
just
sign
makes
to
sense.
just put something, if I put it here. But the sign for stupid means to take it from here.
Ah, wow, okay, wow.
Right, and the
Wow.
sign for teacher means to take it from here.
And put it all out there.
So teacher.
Wow.
That's awesome.
student.
Wow.
Right, and then
That
this
is
is
cool.
like the idea of exchange, right, of ideas.
Wow.
Right,
That's awesome.
so when you got an idea, you don't know what to do. Yeah.
Just throw, I love it.
But anyway, we'll just, actually, it's like that. Sometimes it's like, don't think about that now. Just
I like that
Who's
song.
gonna- right back
I'm
there.
gonna actually use that one, probably today.
And so portals can be all different shapes and sizes.
Right.
And so in ASL, you have to be specific. You can just make it a simple door.
Right.
Or this is kind of like a vision, right? So an opening that you could look through, go through. You know,
Wow.
there's all different
Okay.
things that you can do. You know, okay, so this is to simply be awake, like to waken up, right?
Okay.
And reawakening is a little bit different. Having
Okay, right. Because
And so.
you know, I kind of think we could go with the door. Like the door would be, I mean, it was really, to me, it's very expansive when it but it's something that opens. If we're going to
So
say the
this is
portal
kind of-
reawakening.
And you can open the door.
Yeah.
And you can
Yeah.
go through, right. You can go open the door and not go through it.
Yeah.
Right. But it's kind of this idea of going through and,
Yeah.
you know.
I think it's a door. I mean, and then, but when you hear it, if you think maybe it shouldn't be a door, it should be something else, then maybe we could.
It's still a poem when you read this deputy, you're like, what does that mean? I don't know. That's what it means.
So do you, so on that note, instead of just having the beads, would it be advantageous for us to have the poem as a handout?
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, we
Okay.
should have copies.
So
I'm
now
thinking
it's
that,
like, yeah.
Of the
So-
poem as well.
Right, because it's like we're engaging all the senses here, and I almost forgot that, of course, they can just read it. You know, that, you know, but that actually, but adding all of these other elements, I think, enhances
Oh,
the
sure.
experience.
Right.
But
And-
having-
And for everybody too, though.
For
Even
everybody,
people who
it's not
can hear.
subtract, right, it's not
Because
subtractive,
it's-
right.
It's taking the energy of the movement in the hands
Right.
and interpretation, which is
Right.
part of the energy,
Right,
which takes it off the page and gives it, delivers it in a different way. Because
Right.
it's really quite beautiful and eloquent to watch you sign the poem. So
Yeah.
I'm getting something from that,
Yeah.
that it's like when I saw your beads. It's
Right.
like and then with the tactile things, there's something else that's being added to the immersion
right,
that can't just get off the paper. But you
right,
should definitely have a takeaway.
of course.
And
So,
I can do that, I can.
you can do it, or should we?
No, I'll do it because I'm gonna type it out.
You wanna
It'll be
type it,
hand
okay.
typed, but then we'll make copies.
Okay, fine.
So that way it's got
So
that.
did you guys get that?
Yeah.
We're gonna have, we're gonna additionally have
And I can type it on one page.
a typed copy of
Or a
the
takeaway.
poem for a takeaway as well, in addition to Natasha's bead rolling takeaway. Oh, by the way, before I forget, Johnny, thank you for sending that AI file. I haven't opened it yet because my laptop doesn't have a lot of RAM and I know it's really big. So I'm going to open it on one of these desktops and just take a look at it and make sure it's, you know, I send it over to Dre in the correct
It was
format.
a wooden flute.
Okay?
Yeah,
Great.
it was like this, yeah.
So thanks.
It was a traditional wooden flute.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
And Allie, I hope this is giving you some ideas about the type of lighting that you might want to see in the hallway.
Go ahead.
Because, you know, maybe, I mean, one thing we thought about was like, you know, like a chase sequence going down the hallway, but now I'm starting to feel that that's almost too much. Right?
So they're breaks.
We're talking about the hallway between Mary's office and the equipment room.
Between Mary's office and the mini Mac lab door. Yeah, that hallway is gonna be ours too. What we're gonna do is do week pastings of Johnny's images on either side, and we're gonna darken
I knew while I
it
was sitting
so
there.
that people have that transition,
things were happening so fast
that we
I
talked
didn't
about, the
really
transition going from
blueberries
kind of
and
outside
tasting
world
them.
into the exhibit.
It was just one of
So
those
we're gonna
moments.
have both, we're
And,
gonna have wheat pasted Johnny's illustrations on
and so
either
then I
side.
remember just
And
kind of
Gloria's
doing this
braille
transition
is going to be
while he was
starting at about
transitioning,
48
just that
inches
lightness and
along the
things are
walls
changing
so that
and
people can
same.
feel the braille.
For sure what's going on.
And
but you
she's
know
got
there's something
two
major's
lines
happening right now.
that she's going to
And so it all
use,
happened right there.
one going in and the other
So-
coming out,
Yeah.
so that the braille will be on the wall. So then it's almost like the lights can somehow enhance
Yeah.
those two things
Yeah.
So
without overpowering it, right?
Like a-
That's what I was gonna say, is that
Yeah.
it would be overpowering or take away from to have them on the floor
So
or, you
you
know.
can actually, you know,
But
show that with
Um,
any kind of part of your feeling.
I think maybe
Yeah.
having the lights up with the wheat
Right.
paste might be a good way to get people's attention
This is
up
designed
there.
for dissolving.
And then it just reinforces the idea
I
of
think that's a
stars.
good one, is dissolving.
So-
Yes,
Because
good.
that's how I felt with my dad,
Probably
like, he's
better to just draw the
physically
eye
was
up there,
getting
especially if
more
it's dim.
emancipated,
You
but
know,
if the
we want
light
to make
was
sure that
leaving
they
his
see
eyes.
the large, wheat piece of prints. And so,
And when that
having
was
lights up
happening
there
to
to
him,
draw
it
their
was taking
attention up
something
there.
off me.
And yeah, like I said,
You know,
more stars.
and
as-
missing.
What about then taking some of the lights, it doesn't have to be a lot of them, but just a few of them, and putting them actually on the ceiling, as if they were stars?
And it was,
Yeah, I think that's fine.
This,
And then,
there is this kind of,
I also don't
you know,
think
kind of
that,
thing
I mean, it doesn't necessarily need, I think we talked about this yesterday, it doesn't necessarily need to be Arcano based then,
Right.
because
for
it could be as simple as going to Hobby Lobby and just finding some,
It's just like this.
just finding some like twinkle lights that we can
Yeah.
hang.
Exactly,
It's like a
and
wonderment.
even
It's
like,
like,
we're gonna get black fabric, so
yeah.
one thing we could do is put black fabric on the ceiling and drape it down and just poke the lights through.
More like this.
And then hide all the wiring.
Yeah, behind the
Right,
fabric.
so just even here in my office,
Mhm.
Now, you know, you
girls,
can have the idea of a person sending.
Yeah.
no, I mean, they don't have to be these because these
Right.
are very
That's really
specific,
so
but
much,
just
or
something as
just
simple as
this,
this, yeah, and then just poking that through and
And
hiding
then
all of the
you can
wire.
stop the
Yep.
sign
Yeah.
halfway.
And like,
It's
you know, I'm
like
sure I
gone.
look for lights at Hobby Lobby all the time, or even like, I found some in the dollar bin at Target the other day.
Coins.
Okay.
That have like, they have like little tin
So it's kind of like-
balls
Mhm.
around the
And
lights
then, you know, the kind
for
of
a
like
dollar,
that.
like
Yeah.
to buy
Yeah.
those, like that,
Yeah.
those is off and just hang it.
Now,
And then also I know Hobby Lobby has like
there's
the
the sign
the
for
high school ones that hang
passing.
down to like Christmas.
Yeah.
And so this is
When it's not
like,
Christmas. So I can look into what we could just
This is-
purchase from Hobby Lobby to make it
Great.
other time.
or any other, you know, store.
Oh, wow.
That's great, Ally. I think that's really on the right track. So, so why don't you look around, when you and Victoria have a chance to get together, why don't you kind of explain some of these ideas to her, and then you guys can go shopping, and then we have $100 to reimburse you. And Gloria, did you get fabric?
She has the receipt.
How much was it?
It was 15.
15. Okay. Tara, have you gotten fabric yet? Okay, so Ally, if you
Maybe
can
today.
keep it like, maybe around 15 or so, to like 15 to 20?
Idea of-
Does that seem reasonable?
But this is plus
Okay, I think you just wrote it.
Okay.
If you-
Clean and
If you
pure.
can,
And I
No
have
problem.
to.
Okay, fantastic. All right.
This is college, right? Because this is school,
Dad went to
and this is
college.
above school, but it's the idea of just,
I think that's it, more appropriately is just that cleansing sort of thing, like this was all part of it, like all of this added to that.
that was just
I like that.
difficult
I
to do.
mean, let's hide instead of more.
I know,
Just the Mars.
So,
I know. It didn't,
The sign
it
for-
kind of dawned on me as we were talking, I was like, wait a
different
minute.
signs, right?
Yeah.
This is for like above.
Okay,
So
okay.
kind
Running
of
lights.
from the-
Just-
Right.
This is kind of like.
Yeah, that
into
is
the
fine.
world.
It-
Right.
Wow.
So, because this is designed to go into a building, the whole
Yeah.
thing, but it's like,
I know, it makes such a huge difference.
I think it would be coming into the
So
world.
that way, if they're up here, they,
so sauce.
their first instinct is to look up and they'll see the
Yeah,
little piece and
'cause it's-
everything else is there.
So, and then the kind of here,
The building will
the
start on the left
search
side.
can't happen after you.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it's gonna
I was
start on the
searching,
left side.
and then I go, you know, that means like you were rumbling around in here searching, right?
Okay,
It's not gonna
okay.
be, So you're like, here, and then
Is the other
you
way-
search.
Okay.
And
Nice.
this is the starting character for the crowd. So it's starting here.
And,
I think there's another way to, it's almost.
but the
a little
point
hard
is
to
that you're searching
visualize
this transcends or change or.
Without.
Right.
It's kind of like you found it.
Mhm.
Right. Because it's not a normal, it's,
You know, pulling out.
and if you go into an elevator,
So
they
you have to
automatically
get
find a
it
button.
to make it.
Braille.
To fit that.
Look at that.
So you know there's braille.
Just amazing.
Braille.
And so, attach the idea.
That's what, I mean, that's what there's one fixture.
So you just have to turn it on, which is
If they
fine.
don't, but the chance we can miss somebody. So yeah, it's just that
The
I'm trying to think
general
of
side.
problems and doesn't necessarily have to be solved,
But the
but at
idea
the
is
same time, it might be something worth
this is
studying
the side
into.
down.
Okay.
There's like exhibits.
And we're looking at doing different ways.
Okay.
Hey, Lauren.
Yeah,
I didn't get an email from Alice. She said that you guys were talking back and forth, but she didn't know she would get confirmation on the 25th. So I told her that it was confirmed by the 25th from 1 to 2.
Kind of like.
Yeah.
And that her and I can meet
Appeal
here.
to
And
marriage.
we'll coming out and do lunch.
okay,
Right,
that's,
you can't just say
it is for
one
sure.
pill.
Let me,
Yeah.
But amazing.
let me just look at our last email correspondence, hang on one second.
And so the
Yeah.
idea of.
That's actually great because it ties into
Does the
this.
kind of connect with that?
Yeah.
Because you can also.
Miss.
But,
Yes.
yeah.
And it all connects because these were oranges that were in, off trees in California and it's foggy and it's misty. And it was like that moment of, you know, everything was kind of wet. So,
But as for somebody that is completely, they don't know
PE shop. Yeah. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I think
like,
that one is.
like the act of peeling is PEL, but like the peel is PEAL. I think.
Okay, Ally, yeah, I have that I confirmed for the 25th, but maybe somehow she didn't get it, so
Well,
we,
you sent me that last week, so I think it was before.
Okay.
You guys.
okay, so yeah, so great, so, for sure,
Since
tell her,
Rain
to meet
is
you at the
orange
museum,
grove,
it's scheduled on the 25th.
Smoke
Or
signals,
Google, hang
sweet
on.
in the grass.
Or you
original fruit. So these are all forgiving. The smoke signals, sweet and grass, like the smoke is what's forgiving. Yes. Yes, and the copal too.
Okay, and so these turning fire.
Yeah,
Okay.
however we burn them, yeah.
Okay, so these burn this gap here, and copal is another one.
Yeah, it's like a sap from the tree from Mexico and we burn it, so yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, so these. So, that then, you would probably start then with grass,
Mhm.
put fire, right? And then put fire.
Yeah.
Right. And then, I mean, how do you know, the smoke?
Yeah.
So this would be like swirling, breathing smoke, other lights and all that, like it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Not exactly that.
Yeah, I would rather just the smoke,
Just
just the
the smoke.
burning and then the smoke, yeah. Because that would be the smoke signals of what we could think that would be.
And these all, so trying to tie.
Right, so a lot of
So,
times, yeah.
usually with something, this is to forgive, we just use, all right, to waive. So, so who's doing everything? And who's doing everything?
We're both being forgiven. We're both forgiving whatever needs to be let go. Like it's allowing us to let go. But it's also because of like the smoke's cleansing. It's coming. It's rising up in the air. And it's they were burning a lot of sage. And so basically, you burn sage to like cleanse the energy. But all these other ones, you use these to like bless after you sage. So in a sense, it was allowing my dad and I that space of kind of forgiving each other for whatever we need to be forgiven for.
Because, again, the idea.
So the people are, yeah.
We've got,
Yeah.
this is a sign to bless.
Okay.
So,
So maybe the smoke is blessing that, I would say, yeah, with the smoke. Because that's really what those smokes do. And that's how I guess I can interpret the forgiving, is that it would be more of a blessing by using these smokes and burning them.
just a little bit more, but I would find something that might take a half an hour and less than, right, half a minute.
We have here, I think it's like a 2 minutes or so left. It could be a little. And then soften hard rocks.
And all right, so here, soften hard rocks. Now, the question is it a soften hard rock, or is this a rock?
It's a rock.
Okay, just.
Yeah.
It's a
No,
good
no,
question.
It's
Sign
a,
very
yeah,
differently.
soften hard rocks.
And so are they rocks?
They're actually, they're
Shape of
shape of
hearts.
heart, yeah. Which will have some, I should have, I thought we'd have some as part of the
Yeah.
texture.
We talked
Yes.
about it, yeah.
I've been picking up stones on the way to work too.
Oh, nice.
I got one, I said, that
Okay,
looks
so
like
the
a rock.
rocks are not generally soft, so
Right.
this is an interesting thing.
Right, and it's definitely a play on words because they're not soft, but they have that softened look. So
this is-
they're like almost, they're smooth. When you
Smooth.
hold them, they're smooth, they're puffy, they look like they could be soft.
Very good, they could be
This is-
cushions.
well,
Yes.
This is soft as in the surface.
Yes.
This is soft as in cushion.
So
Right,
soft as
this
in
is
the
soft
surface.
as in the surface.
This is just really good, I'm so glad you did this.
I know, right?
Now, yeah.
All right, so we have two signs for code. Okay. This
Can't wait
sign
to
for
learn them.
code that has to do, this is like a song,
Okay.
like a person who's creating lyrics to a song that we can hear and that is generally written like this. Right? But then we also have this idea, well, if this is poetry, then you cannot create poetry inside language. So this is the side. And side section, so we can. And the whole idea, so poets hold gently, so
soften heart rocks, poets hold gently.
So these guys are
they go,
holding those rocks.
yeah.
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 Who's got the who's doing?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, so that would be
It
word.
changes,
Everything.
Everything.
The meaning is everything.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the whole something gently.
Yeah. Text up. Okay.
The inflection of holding something, holding something.
Right,
Right, and you hold it in the shape of it.
right.
Did you hold this? Got it. So it changes, and actually, ASL is much more closely related, or not related to Navajo, but structures things much more. Wow. Navajo does language, because in Navajo we do the same thing, words change, depending on what it is.
Wow.
That's the end of doing the action.
Yep, that's,
Yeah. You know, yeah.
yeah.
So when everybody's like, oh, ASL is easy to learn. Right now, I'm really struggling with my ASL 2 students because, you keep it to 3-word sentence in ASL 1 and you do it on grammar. And then it gets complicated and everybody's like, what? Time comes first, then comes location or space, and then comes the topic, and then comes the action.
You have to set the context first, is what you were explaining, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, so poets hold gently. Okay,
So I'm just gonna,
now-
I'm gonna tell these guys, because class is officially over, so I'm gonna let these guys know that they can go if they need to.
Okay.
And anybody else can go if you need to.
Soften
but-
heart rocks.
So you guys, it's
Okay, soften
one,
heart rocks.
it's 1:50,
Poets hold
so
gently.
class is officially
And
over.
then when
You
held
can
in
stay
understanding,
if you want, and you can continue to listen to Carol, or if you need to go, you can go.
So,
Next week
it's kind of what brought me and my dad
is
back.
Margaret
He's
Middleton.
talking
She's
about
going to be our
it.
guest
Heart rocks.
on Google
I'm gonna show
Hangout.
them the
So
rock
we'll
rocks
have it kind
And
of,
it was part of our,
I'm going to Google Hangout her in.
So.
And she
Right.
works with family
Yeah.
friendly, I should say, design for museums and cultural institutions. In other words, welcoming all kinds of families and people into museums and cultural institutions. So she's pretty awesome and radical, and I'll post a link on the Facebook page about the kinds of things she does. So mostly related to gender equality, but she does things around all sorts of accessibility and equality. So she's pretty awesome. So I'll post a link about her on the Facebook page, and then she'll be talking to the class next week. So as far as
All the misunderstandings.
what to be working on between now and then, I guess Ally, you know what you're going to be working on with Victoria.
Yeah.
Johnny, I'm going to take a look at your file and make sure everything's okay, and I'll get back to you if I need to. Natasha, I will print your
all the
piece. Can you do me a
misunderstandings.
favor and send it to me via email?
Right.
Because right now I only have it on Facebook, and I'd rather have it on email, so it's a better resolution. And then I can send it to Dre, or you can send it directly to Dre, actually, and ask her to print it. Will you do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so send it to Dre and ask her to print it, so we have a prototype, and we'll look at it. And then Tara and Jake will be filming the
It would be
video.
together, two of us, like
Matt,
me and my dad together.
you'll be
So this is what,
just
yes.
doing,
Holding steady pattern.
holding steady, picking up heart-shaped rocks.
Not many of those, actually.
And Gloria's working on her Braille.
Okay.
And, okay, all right. So you guys, as always, if you have any questions, just post on the Facebook page or email me, and we're going to finish up. You're welcome to stay. We're going to finish up with Carol as she goes through the poem, interpreting some of this vocabulary into ASL.
Okay.
All righty.
stanza has the most concentrated sort of meanings in it.
Where it wraps it up.
Yeah.
Right, it's like everything, the complexity of it now is getting.
Yeah, so if you, I always tell people if you are speaking, you're doing signs in English word order, it makes about as much sense as if you do signs in English word order. Past to now, misunderstood, fade away to a less understood.
Right.
It's like, that make no sense. So then we go back to the beginning.
Yeah,
And this is too big.
okay.
But if you mean big in the sense of triangles.
Yeah. Yeah, more so in that capacity.
Because this is
It
like to
overcomes,
take-
yeah,
this
it's
is like,
not-
I grabbed the flowers and
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
horse race.
It's
I
like,
got
it's like love, it won, it conquered, like it overcame
Right.
whatever it needed to
Yeah, this is to actually conquer something or
Okay.
overcome something. This is to say, which can also mean to be, to overcome.
Okay.
Depends on what it is. But this is to just pop. This is exciting. So, just for my own thing,
Yes.
is to double check that I haven't separated ideas that aren't supposed to be separate.
And I think you were very thorough and asked really good questions, especially about this down here, because I need to be broken up. And then I like how this is going to be played out once we get there. Yeah. No, it's, and then that was, I think your understanding of that is pretty on it. Thank you, Carol.
Okay.
How exciting. Can I have your email? And I will send you the AI, which is just a podcast.
So mine is just